Hello everyone. This video is quick revision of periodic classification, and in this topic also I want to cover only important topics which should be revised before appearing an objective exams like NEET, JEE or MSET. So let us begin the video. Okay. In the periodic table we have 7 periods and 18 groups, and in this is called as first period, and this is called as second period, and this is third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. And in this, the first one is called as shortest period, and the second and third are called as short periods. So this contains only two elements, whereas this contains eight elements. And this fourth and fifth, they are called as long periods. They contain 18 elements. And the sixth one is called as longest, and this contains 32 elements, whereas this seventh one is incomplete. So these are 7 periods. And when coming to the groups, the periodic table have 18 groups. So this is 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and up to 18. The same way also remember one more. Sometimes in the options you will ask in Roman number. So group number, this is 1A and this is 2A and this is 3B, 3B and this is 4B. So up to here it is manganese is this is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 7B. And this iron, cobalt, nickel, they are nothing but 8B. These all elements. And next, this is copper is 1B and zinc is 2B. And from here, again we have elements from 3A to this is 8A. 3A to 8A. And the questions will be asked, he will give some atomic number. Let us think he is giving atomic number 32. And he will ask what is the period and group number of atomic number 32. So for this you have to remember the periodic table. Those who don't know periodic table, you can try one more method. For this, first you have to learn the atomic numbers of this helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. So first you have to by heart this order: helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon, radon. Suppose the question is asked 32. So you write this all these elements and take this 36 and go back. So this is 8, 7, 6, 5 and 4. So 32 atomic number is nothing but it belongs to fourth group. When coming to period, helium belongs to first period, this is second period, third period, fourth period. So here this atomic number 32 belongs to fourth group and also fourth period. So in this way you can uh, do this to calculate group number and period when atomic number is given. So this you can use for any of this. So you can just write these noble gases. Suppose if the question is asked as some 51. So you can try 51. So write the noble gases. So 54 is noble gas. 53, 52, 51. So this is 8, 7, 6 and 5. So this 51 belongs to fifth group. And when coming to the period, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth period. So in this way you can calculate. So this is a method to calculate group number and period if you don't know the periodic table. Okay. Next, This periodic table is classified into four types based on their blocks. That is, they are classified into S blocks. So in this, the differentiating electron enter into S orbital, and here you have to remember the general electronic configuration is ns122. So this 1a and 2a comes in S block, and second one is the differentiating electrons into p block, p orbital. Then they are called as p block elements. And this sixth, this fifth, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, all these six A group elements from 3 to 8A, they comes under this P block. And in this P block, the general electronic configuration is NS2 NP126. And in this S block, they contains metals, whereas this P block, they contains metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Next, the third block is D. So in this, the differentiating electrons enter into penultimate. So what is meant by penultimate means it is n minus 1 orbital. So n minus 1 d. So here the general configuration is n minus 1 d, 1 to 10, and it is ns2. It contains 4 series. This is 3D series, 4D series, 5D series, and 6D series. So mostly we will, the important series are 3 only. This is 3D, 4D, and 5D series. Next, when coming to this F block, the differentiating electrons enter into anti-penultimate. So in the D block we have penultimate, and in the F block we have anti-penultimate. So anti-penultimate means it is n minus 2. So general configuration of F block is n minus 2 F, 1 to 14, n minus 1 D, 0 to 1 ns2. And remember, what is the group number of F block means here they all comes below 3b. So all the F block elements actually they comes below 3b. These lanthanides and actinides. And remember, this lanthanum is not a F block element; it is a D block element. So sometimes you will ask, lanthanum belongs to the following block. It belongs to the following: S block, P block, D, and F. So lanthanides are different, and lanthanum is different. So lanthanum is nothing but it is a D block element. It comes below this: scandium, yttrium, lanthanum, and actinium. So this 57 and 89, they are D block elements only. After this lanthanum, from cerium to this lutetium, they comes under F block. The same thing, thorium to lawrencium, they comes under this F block. So this is 4F series and this is 5F series. So this is all about classification of elements into blocks. So this is a complete picture of periodic table. In periodic properties, the first property is it is atomic radius or atomic size. So atomic size is nothing but it is a distance between the nucleus and outermost electron density. And we cannot directly calculate the atomic radius. We can calculate atomic radius uh, either from covalent radius or van der Waals radius or metallic radius. So we have to use crystallographic methods to calculate the radius of an atom. And it is impossible to get a single atom. So mostly we calculate the radius from molecule and we make it half to calculate the atomic radius. Now, after all these definitions and everything, the important point which is required for the exam is whether what will happen to the size in group and period. So when coming to the group, the atomic size will increase. So whenever you take a group, so group means it is from top to bottom, the atomic radius will increase. And when you take the size in a period, the atomic radius will decrease in a period. So it will increase in a group and decrease in a period. Decrease in a period. Okay. So next, mostly there are no exceptions in any group and period. So there is a small exception which we have to discuss in the size. So in a group from top to bottom, there is no problem. In any group you take, the atomic radius will decrease. But when coming to the period, there are some exceptions. So now what are that exceptions means? So let us take any period. I am taking a second period. So it is lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. So generally from left to right, the atomic size will decrease. So this is the expected order. So anyone would expect this is the order of atomic size. So but there is a small change between fluorine and neon. Actually the fluorine should have a more size than the neon. But the neon will have more size than the fluorine. Why this is happening means the neon, that is noble gas, the noble gases will have van der Waals radius, which is more than covalent radius. So that is the only reason why the size of fluorine is less than neon. So according to the trend, fluorine should have larger size than the neon. But what we observe is the fluorine is having smaller size than the neon. So this point you have to remember. So this is very important point in size. This is the only exception, and the same exception will be repeated down the group. So if you take this chlorine, and then after chlorine you have chlorine, and here we have argon. So which will have more size means argon. And in the same way, if you take bromine and krypton, krypton will have more size. So just you have to remember the 7th A group elements and the 8th A group elements. The 8th A group elements will have large size, and the reason behind is due to van der Waals radius present in the noble gases. Okay. Next, the second property is it is ionization energy. So what is meant by ionization energy? So it is the energy required to remove an electron. So I'm telling the definition in a short. So it is nothing but in a neutral atom, if electron is there and the energy required to remove that electron, then that is called as ionization energy. And this ionization energy uh, will increase when the number of electrons are removed. So from first electron to second electron, the ionization energy will increase. So when you remove one electron, it is called as ionization energy 1, and when you remove second electron, it is called as ionization energy 2. So always remember the ionization energy 2 will be more than ionization energy 1. So why this is happening means when you remove one electron, then the nuclear attractions on the remaining electrons increases. So to remove the second electron, we require more energy. So this is about ionization energy. And next in this ionization energy, one very important point is the ionization energy is inversely proportional to size. So if size increases, ionization energy decreases, and size decreases, ionization energy increases. And this ionization energy also depends on some factors like nuclear charge, screening effect, penetration power, and the most important point, it is half filled and completely filled configurations. Generally, the elements with configuration half filled and completely filled will have more stability, so they are not ready to lose electrons. So they have more ionization energy. So in this half filled and completely filled, we will be having exceptions, and the questions also will be asked on that exceptions only. Suppose if you take if you take any group, so in a group from top to bottom, what will happen to the size this ionization energy means the ionization energy will decrease. And when coming to the period, the ionization energy will increase. So in a group it decreases and in a period it will increase. Now I said there are some exceptions. So what is that exception is take one example. In the same way I am taking this second period. This is expected. Lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon. So in these elements the ionization energy order is nothing but from left to right it should increase. So this is expected order. So this is the expected order. This is expected. Right? But we don't need this expected order. We require observed. So what is the observed order means from lithium to beryllium ionization energy increases and beryllium will have more ionization energy than the boron and then carbon and then nitrogen, and here also nitrogen will have more ionization energy than the oxygen, then fluorine, and last one is neon. So this is the observed order. So this is wrong and this is right. So we have to consider only observed. So why this is happening means when you see the configuration of beryllium configuration is it is 1s2 2s2. So 1s2 2s2 is nothing but it is having completely filled configuration. So this is 1s2 and 2s2 which is completely filled configuration. So I have said before the elements with the stable configuration, that is this completely filled configuration, are more stable. So they require more energy to remove electrons. So this beryllium will have more ionization energy than the boron. In the same way when coming to nitrogen. So the nitrogen configuration is I am writing valency configuration. It is 1s2, 2s2, 2p3. So here 3 means the p orbital it is half filled. Again half filled is also more stable. So half filled also does not lose electrons easily. So this nitrogen will have more ionization energy than the oxygen. So you have to remember this fifth group. All the fifth A group elements will have more ionization energy than the sixth, and all the 2A group elements will have more ionization energy than the boron. So this is an important case, and this trend will repeat in all the periods. So the same thing in the beryllium. Below this we get magnesium and aluminium. So magnesium will have more ionization energy. Below nitrogen we have phosphorus and sulfur. Phosphorus will have more ionization energy than the sulfur. So this is about ionization energy. Next, next property is electron affinity, EA. It is nothing but the energy released when an electron is added to neutral atom. Same like ionization energy, we remove electron, and here we add electron. So when an electron is added, let us take some atom A, and you are adding one electron into this. Then this forms a anion A minus, and this is called as electron affinity 1. Suppose if you are adding one more electron A minus, then it is converted to A minus 2, and this is called as electron affinity 2. And remember one important point, in the NEET once he asked electron affinity of oxygen, electron affinity 1 and electron affinity 2 of oxygen, and he asked which is exothermic and which is endothermic. So whenever you add an electron, energy is released. So when you are adding one electron, in both these cases there should be release of energy. But here what is happening? The first electron affinity is it is an exothermic process. Energy is released. But The electron affinity 2 is not an exo, it is an endothermic process. So this point is very very important. Not only 2. If you take electron affinity 3, 4, 5, they all comes under endothermic only. So remember, electron affinity 1 is exothermic and electron affinity 2 is endothermic. The reason behind is when you are adding the first electron, the atom is ready to take that electron. When you are adding the second electron, already occupied first electron will repel the coming electron. So when it is repelling, then what we have to do means we have to give some more energy to that. So that is why this electron affinity 2 is an endothermic process. Okay. And in the same way, this electron affinity is also inversely proportional to size. So I'm just writing the trends. So in a group, electron affinity from top to bottom it decreases, and in a period, electron affinity from left to right it increases. And here also we are having exceptions in both groups and periods. And these electron affinity exceptions are very very important. So once see this exception. So I'm not writing the expected. Expected is the same like ionization energy. So I'm writing the observed. So this is the correct electron affinity. So first let us write these elements. So I'm taking the same element that is same period elements that is lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, and neon. So actually, electron affinity in a period it should decrease. But what is the observed order is electron affinity of lithium is more than beryllium, and this is okay. Boron is more than beryllium, and carbon is more than boron. And again, the nitrogen will have less electron affinity than the carbon, and then oxygen is same trend, and then this fluorine is same trend, whereas this neon will have less electron affinity than the fluorine. So you have to remember here this neon. So actually neon should have more electron affinity, but it is less. In the same way, according to the trend, nitrogen should have more electron affinity, but it is less than carbon. And beryllium should have more electron affinity, but it is less than lithium. So why this is happening means here also the same reason. They are all half filled and completely filled configurations. Half filled and completely filled configurations are more stable. When they are stable, they will not lose electrons or not gain electrons. So that is why they are not ready to take electrons. So electron affinity is less. Next, when coming to a exceptions in a group, we have exceptions in sixth group, that is sixth A and seventh A. In the sixth A, we are having exceptions, and we are having exceptions in the seventh group. That is seventh A. So the top to bottom, what should happen from top to bottom in a group? Electron affinity decreases. So when you take sixth A group elements, the expected order is sixth A group is we have oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, and polonium. So this is the expected order. Top to bottom, it should decrease. So this is the order. So leave this polonium. It is a radioactive element. So leave about this polonium. Just take these four elements. And now in this, this is expected, but this is wrong. Then what is the correct answer is the electron affinity of sulfur is more than this Se, and then Pe and oxygen will have less electron affinity. So this is the correct order. So this is correct and this is wrong. In the same way, the halogens also should have the electron affinity like this: fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, and the expected order is the same thing. Fluorine should be more than bromine and then iodine. But what is the observed order? This is wrong. And what is the observed order means it is chlorine will have more electron affinity, then we get fluorine, and then bromine, and then it is iodine. So this is the correct order. So this is correct. So these are the exceptions. We get exception in 6th group and 7th group. And in the complete periodic table, the highest electron affinity is present for chlorine. Highest electron affinity is present in chlorine. And if they ask in the 6th group elements which is having more electron affinity, then the answer is sulfur. So only in 6th group it is sulfur. And whatever it is, 7th group or any group, the highest electron affinity is present for the chlorine. So this is about electron affinity. Next is electronegativity. This is same like electron affinity, but the bond pair of electrons are attracted by any one atom, and that atom is said to be more electronegative. And in a group, the electronegativity decreases, and in a period, the electronegativity increases. So this is about electronegativity in group and period. Next, the highest electronegative element in the complete periodic table is fluorine. So fluorine will have highest electronegative. So this is the highest electronegative element. That's all. That's all for electronegativity. And we have two scales, Pauling scale and Millikan scale. So all that is not required. Just remember this electronegativity. That's all. And in the same way, electropositivity. This is the opposite of negativity. So what happens here? It bond pair of electrons, in a bond pair of electrons, this will give or donate electrons to the neighboring atom. So this is attracting and this is giving. This is attracting and this is giving. So here this is the reverse of negativity. So in a group it will increase, and in a period the electropositivity will decrease. So this is the trend of electropositivity. And electronegativity and non-metallic nature are same. Electropositivity and metallic nature are same. Next topic is about oxides. So when coming to oxides, we are having three types of oxides: acidic, basic, and amphoteric. And one more is a neutral. We'll discuss later on. So here we discuss about acidic, basic, and amphoteric. So if you take any one particular period, I am taking third period. I'm taking oxides of third period. Sodium will form an oxide of Na2O, and magnesium form MgO, and aluminium form Al2O3, and silicon will form SiO2, and phosphorus will form P2O5, and sulfur will form SO3, chlorine will form Cl2O7. So these are the oxides. And in these oxides, this sodium oxide and magnesium oxide, they are basic, and this is a strong base, and this is a weak base, whereas this aluminium is amphoteric. And these two, SiO2 and P2O5, they are weak acids, and SO3 and Cl2O7, they are strong acids. Strong acids and weak acids. So from this you can understand that what is happening to acidic nature and basic nature. So if you take a particular group, so I am taking this oxide Na2O, K2O, and above this we have Li2O, lithium, sodium, potassium, and then we have Rb2O, and then we have CS2O, cesium oxide. So based on this, in a group, we can write what is happening to acidic nature and what is happening to basic nature. So if you take in a group means top to bottom. Top to bottom, remember the acidic nature will decrease. So acidic nature will decrease and the basic nature will increase. When coming to period from left to right, the acidic nature will increase and the basic nature will decrease. That's all. So this is all about oxides. And after oxides, one small topic is left, which is called as diagonal relationship. So in this diagonal relationship, it is present only in second period and third period elements, and that too up to fourth year only. Second period elements are lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, and this is sodium, magnesium, aluminum, and silicon. So here the properties of this lithium and magnesium are same due to same polarizing power, and properties of beryllium and aluminum are same. Properties of boron and silicon are same. This is due to same polarizing power. So generally here see this example. MgO is base. So if MgO is base, beryllium oxide also should be basic. But what we observe is beryllium oxide is amphoteric. In the same way, aluminum oxide is amphoteric. So if aluminum is amphoteric, boron oxide also should be amphoteric because same group will have same properties. But what is happening here? Boron is acidic. Why it is acidic means it is showing diagonal relationship with the silicon. Why means here silicon is acid. So this is about diagonal relationship. So by this we complete periodic table, and that's all for the day. Thank you.